Okay, this is the weekly prep for December 21st, 2020. This is not investment advice. These are just my ideas. Take them at your own risk. Can everybody hear me okay? Bueller?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you now.
okay, cool.
Yes.
So I came up with, I don't know, about 8 different charts. They're just in alphabetical order here. So I'm going to go through what I'm looking at and why I like them. So the first one is Beyond, and it's inside on the weekly. Normally we'd be looking for a break above this wick here at 145.83, and you can take that there for sure. I just marked the wick of this next candle because sometimes you get that fake out where it looks like it's going to go up and then it kind of fake you out and take you out. So I'd feel a little bit more comfortable if it was actually over that 146.97, which is the wick of the previous candle. And on the daily, we've got a nice pivot machine gun here, possibly back to the upside. Obviously, there's Congress working on stimulus right now, so that could dramatically change what we see in the morning one way or the other. So I'll be interested to see if they have any progress on that. So that's Beyond. Inside on the week, I'm looking for a long at this point, basically above 147.52. That could even be a good swing, even just to take out the monthly level here at 172.77. Beyond's average true range has been around the $5 mark lately, but a lot of it's due to all this consolidation where it really wasn't doing much. You can see here that when the thing wants to move, it'll move. So I may even consider it for a swing. A lot of it depends on stimulus and what happens today, tomorrow, and so forth. D-Dog is up next. Then once I get through them, we'll take questions on setups and things like that. So D-Dog inside on the daily. So you could take it up or down. And again, the wick of the previous candle on the daily is so close here that I just marked that instead. So basically over 109.87 on the daily for a long, and then below 106.92 for a short. If we look at the weekly. Yeah, so this would basically be a 2-2 on the week, with the target being all-time highs or potentially higher. And we got JKS. This setup's not great. The only reason, from the standpoint that 2-2 continuations are a little more risky, but you had that doji, on Thursday last week? You had it pop all the way up here and come back a little bit. So if we open, say right about here, somewhere above there, and that is, what level is that? About 62.25, and it starts to go up. This could be a pivot machine gun, not perfect, but back up to take out the month at 80.92. Let's look at the monthly. So previous month, the high of that candle was 80.92. So let's see what the weekly looks like. It'd be probably a 2-2 continuation on the weekly. So a little more risk here, but JKS is one of those stocks that if you watched it, when it gets moving in a direction, look at this, it just goes. We got Lulu. And Lulu is inside on the daily. Normally I don't like big inside candles. This one I'm okay with, and the reason is that it closed down here. So you'll see often, and Rob says this all the time, when there is a big up day, the next day is going to go inside and it's just going to sit there. So in my eyes, this candle just means a bunch of consolidation. I mean, if we open below and start heading down, you know, that's a different thing. But I am looking for a long at this point above 387.27, this purple line here. On the weekly, we'd be looking again for 2-2 continuation. Where are we on the month? Monthly highs are up here at 400. I'm just going to change that color so I know what I'm looking at. So Lulu can move for anyone that's traded it. That could certainly take out the previous month's high pretty easily by the end of the year. So I like that one. Then we've got NVIDIA. NVIDIA, I believe, is inside on the week. Yep. So what I'm looking for with NVIDIA is for it to trade above 538.64, so to break that inside candle to the upside. Obviously, guys, if we go down in the morning, just pull up your charts and mark that bottom level, and then you'd be looking for it to break the one candle on the downside. Right now, I'm expecting it to be a long, but that could certainly change. And then our target, you know, if we're looking on the weekly level, would initially be up to the wick from the previous weekly candle. And let me give you that level. That is 549.10. So that's a great trade right there on the week. And NVIDIA can easily do that in a week. So that's kind of what I would be looking for. Monthly, we still have quite a ways to go, but NVIDIA's range is, just double check it. It's pretty extensive. That thing can go it's out of the way. Yeah, about 12 points. So we'll see. But your initial target of 549.10 is certainly respectable. Next, we have Roku. And Roku is inside on the daily, as you see here. So we'd be looking for a break above, move that down a little bit, 343.44. And then our target, of course, would be these all-time highs. What you have here, as you guys know, is potential exhaustion risk, but sometimes things are on a tear and we've got full time frame continuity can take us to new highs. So we'll see where she goes. We've got Zoom. Zoom, what was I looking at on Zoom? The weekly. I'm looking for a possible 2-2 reversal to the upside. And if you're swinging it, your initial target would be here. Actually, I'm sorry, right here, which Zoom can easily take that candle. Oops, sync that down my charts. And then over a longer time frame, you just look left for your swings. So again, a lot of it depends if we're able to maintain that bullish slant to the market. I do like it here on the daily too. You have a low, a high, a higher low. So that's how an uptrend begins. So I think that's looking good. Then my last one is TDOC. And TDOC, I was looking at the weekly chart again. And again, I'd be looking for a 2-2 reversal potentially on the weekly to go back and take these guys out. So that would be over. It would be over 202.61. Initial target is pretty tiny here at 204.89, but from there you got 209.61. This could potentially make a great swing because we're well below the highs. This thing is volatile though. It's a tough day trader. So if you don't like volatility and you're not a swing trader, this might be one that you want to stay away from. So that's what I've got on my list. I'll go ahead. If you want to ask questions, go ahead and type them in chat. It's so weird. I can't see my little. I'm just going to unmute everybody. For some reason, my little chat box disappeared. Alrighty. All right.
Hey, Jen.
Yeah.
So for BYND and I think D-Dog as well. D-Dog looked better, but with BYND, it's kind of top of the range.
Hey guys, if you got noise going on in your background though, please make sure you're muted. Just unmute if you're going to ask a question. Thanks, just so everyone can hear. Go ahead.
Looks like BYND is kind of pushing top of the range there, so that would probably, depending on what it does in the morning, would favor to the short side.
How do you figure?
Given that it's at the top of the range there.
It's not at the top of the range though.
Okay.
Here, let me look at the daily. What do you mean top of the range? Because you've got all this range back up here.
Okay, I guess your top chart there you've got on the 5-minute.
Oh, the 5. You want me to switch it? Would that be easier to see? That might help you guys see a little better. I didn't even think about that. Thank you. Hold on, I gotta turn. One of my volume by profiles has really long wicks, so that's gonna make it harder to see. Okay. So go ahead. What were you saying?
So that's the day. Okay, so that's the daily. So on the 5-minute, it looks like it's top of the range, but I guess that's what I'm trying to understand is when it looks.
So when we're looking at trades to take for the week, I'm starting out generally with the bigger time frames to see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go to the lower time frames to make my trades. But here, this is what Rob calls pivot machine gun. So you see here how it went green, 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 and then all the way back down.
Yeah.
That's a pivot machine gun. So what it looks like to me on the daily is that it's going to pivot machine gun back up. I mean, it may only reach here, may go all the way back to highs. I don't know. But we have this nice inside week. And we've got real good magnitude on it. Kind of our initial target.
You're not, when you're looking at the daily and the weekly, you're not looking at the volume profile just yet?
No.
Okay.
No. So volume profile, this is a different kind of setup. So the volume profile setup I use strictly out of the open for that quick kind of trade that you want to be done in the first hour. That's not to say it doesn't come into play as you're watching the price action through the day. It certainly does. But on the larger time frames, you're looking at kind of the big picture. So part of being a trader is being able to form the right-hand side of the chart, right? And so when I see this inside candle one up, so we have a low, a higher low, a higher high, and now an even higher low. That looks very, very bullish to me. Are you following me? Are you tracking?
Yeah, okay. Yes.
So, and then I'm looking at magnitude, because you could have a fantastic setup, but let's say the magnitude, you know, it's never been higher than this level. You're going to go, I don't know. You know, if you're a breakout trader, yeah, you might want to take that. But if you're not, you're going to go, not really my style. When I'm looking at this, that looks like a wonderful swing trade with the first major target being up at 170. I'm not a huge fan, once again. I mean, Jan can move, but it can be a very tough day trader with not so clean price action. So once again, if you're a little bit newer, and you do take it, you may want to take it for a swing. It's harder to keep tight stops, I think, with Beyond, but when you get this inside candle and you're patient, you wait for it to bump over that, and I may even say over this wick right here on the 3, so that you don't get faked out.
Gotcha.
typically those trades work. Not always, you know, sometimes they come up, fake you out, stop you out, and turn around and go 3 back the other direction. So anything's possible, right? We're just looking for what seems to be the most likely and what the chart looks like it's trying to tell us.
Right. So just to make sure I understand, so you're starting with daily, weekly, kind of getting the bigger picture. In this case, yeah, it's kind of, this will be towards the bottom of the range on the bigger time frames, and then you're
Yep.
using, then you would go, if you see the setups that are ideal, long or short, then you would go to the volume profile and use the shorter time frames to look for entry points.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Good questions. All right, who else has some questions on the setups? Guys, if you're not talking, put yourself on mute, please.
Hey, Jen, what is this 15 seconds one you have on the left-hand side?
Oh, 15 seconds. So I use that at the open,
Oh, okay.
really.
For a second, I thought it's a 15 days, and I'm like, wow, that's a news. I'm like, then with my class, I was able to turn out and what? Yes.
No, I just use it because, you know, sometimes trades move so fast out of the open, and if I feel like I'm missing it, this can show me within inside a 1 minute candle, like give me 4 chances to get in that trade every minute.
Okay, got it.
So if something's really moving, this helps my entry, if that makes sense.
Thanks, appreciate it. Again, maybe not as part of this meeting or anything. If you want, I mean, because thanks Rob for these questions about volume profile. I also have the same. When you have some time, maybe as a separate day or separate topic, go just in detail about volume profile. I'm trying to.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to do a couple more videos and just throw them up.
That one. Yeah, because your earlier one was awesome.
What's
Then I
that?
was trying to, yeah. Thank you.
Alrighty, God, my controls are all weird. Zoom can be kind of wonky sometimes. Drives me
yes.
nuts. Alrighty, other questions? Where is my darn chat? So irritating. I'm so irritated with this thing.
No message right now, at least to everyone.
What's that now?
On chat, there is no message as of now.
Oh, there's no, okay, so no.
For everyone, I don't know, maybe they sent it to you. I didn't see that.
Yeah, can you do me a favor, just keep an eye on that, because mine is just being weird.
We can see it only if it goes to everyone. If it goes to you, you can't see it.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Other questions, other stocks you want to take a look at? Ray, anything?
Can you hear me?
I can.
I'm really happy with this list, but what I want to just caution, if I can just kind of add to what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caution everyone, if you're thinking of taking any of these for swing or for whatever, you know, it can be tempting to get in right away, but just always wait for a pullback, you know, like just if, you know, sometimes it shoots up and it pulls back, and just try not to be over eager, because sometimes it'll pull back quite a ways before it really makes its move, right? So just be cautious on your entry. You know, give it time to play out. It's Monday, and you know, these things can sometimes take a day or two to get going, you know. So just, that's all I wanted to say.
No, that's a good point.
And you trigger happy at the open.
The other thing is that when you're entering a position, don't blow your whole load on the first try. Exactly. Because, and ideally you want to get in on a triangle day out, like Rob always says. You don't want to do a FOMO chase, because you'll get smacked every single time. I mean, you'll sit there and wonder, how did they know I got in the trade? And they knew because you weren't patient enough to wait to get in for a triangle day out. So that's
Don has asked for GBTC.
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear? Yeah, just general thoughts on Bitcoin, and maybe more so thoughts about going into 2021. But looking at that chart, maybe you know, what are your thoughts on that for the
you know, that's one maybe DM me about, because I've traded crypto in the past, but I don't track it or trade it really now, so that might just be out of the scope. if that makes sense, but you can certainly DM me and I'll do my best to answer you
Okay,
on
Cool,
Twitter.
thanks.
You have my Twitter?
I do. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, who else has questions?
And can you look at BAH?
Booz Allen Hamilton Holding Corporation. Interesting. Okay, so we're inside on the daily. We got full time frame continuity. This guy,
We're
and you have
almost at
some,
all-time highs.
you have some magnitude here. So over 90.01, if you took it long, you'd be looking for ideally a target. Well, I guess it's only about a point. I'm so used to looking at stocks that move like 10 points, but that could be a decent trade. I've never traded this stock. I don't know. I'm not real familiar with how it moves or whether it's optionable.
Yeah, it was one I saw Lauren, she had posted online, and I just want
Oh,
to get your thoughts on, because
yeah.
you identified it and I was like, okay, well, this is a good one. Maybe we could talk about and get your thoughts on.
So here's something else about a stock like this. It's at 90 and it's got full time frame continuity, and you'll find that when stocks get in the 90s, they're going to magnet to 100. I'm not saying that's going to happen this week or next week, but it will get there. So that's just something else to keep in mind. But
I feel like Starbucks did that recently too.
what's that?
Starbucks did that recently. They were, got to the 88, 90 range, and then they kind of, like you said, they just, they've been talking about that, how they were going to get to 100, and that's kind of what they did.
I haven't looked at Starbucks in ages.
Yeah.
That looks like it wants to. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I don't have it on my
It was
watch
kind
list.
of the same. It was kind of the same deal. Like went inside, it was pushing that 90 range, and then, like you said, it was just itching for 100.
So yeah, Starbucks could be a decent trade, and Starbucks isn't too erratic when you trade it. So could trade the break of that inside candle on the weekly. I like that. Thanks for bringing that up. So those levels are basically 104.88 and 102.63. Let's see what it looks like back on the daily again. Oops. Yeah. Monday. So yes, a lot of times you'll kind of see a big candle like this. All of this baloney right here in my eyes is just a bunch of nothingness and a consolidation. And so you could see that it lasts up tomorrow. I guess we'll see. Anyone else stocks that they want me to run through? Questions? What happened to my stupid chat? Why I can't see. So anybody, can you see anything, Ray?
I'm
I
seeing
think
a
somebody
chart.
asked for SBE.
What is it?
S as Sam, B as a boy, E as elephant.
E was the first letter?
No, S as Sam.
Oh, S is Sam. I'm sorry. S is
B
Sam.
as a boy,
B as a boy.
E. I don't know
E.
what.
Okay, SBE, switchback.
I think California, yes.
Let's look at the weekly. And that's kind of, let me just tell you guys something. If you look at a chart and you kind of go, yeah, you're doing that for a reason. Let's look at the monthly and see. I mean, it's just kind of done nothing. Although I would like that if it was January, for a reversal back down, but we're not quite there yet. Look at the daily one more time.
Those tails would scare me away.
Yeah, it's a little wonky. I mean, personally,
So-
I'm not overly thrilled about the chart.
So is it, sorry, do you have any, should we have additional filter like volume or something? Because everything looks like to me like a wick, right? So I don't know.
I don't really use volume on my charts. On the bigger timeframes, I'm strictly looking at the chart patterns. I personally have never found that regular volume has helped me.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
okay. This one looks so, is it thinly traded? I can't see the option or volume. My think or swim is kind of updating, so I can't see it.
I mean, when I look at it, I don't go, wow, that's just like an amazing setup, you know?
No, me
Because
neither.
it looks like it's not even following anything. Like from 3 it went to 2, and then boom, then it suddenly had a big rise.
Well, and here's the thing, if you have to kind of try to figure it out and it's just not clear, it's probably not the best one to trade. One other thing I wanted to show you guys possibly here is FedEx on the weekly. That looks like we could take a continuation down to about this level. If you look at the daily, I mean, it's definitely got some room to go down here and pivot
Yeah.
machine gun some guys out. We'll see. I mean, look at this on the weekly. Holy smokes.
Yeah,
That
that's
thing
got a
could
ways to go.
really pivot machine gun some folks out. I mean, the key to trading, remember, is it's an odds game. So when we go in tomorrow morning, I may look at some of these charts and they're going to look totally different. No one can really say. You just got to make your plans the night before and then kind of roll with it the next day. And just be cautious. I mean, Monday's bound to be very emotional with the stimulus baloney going on tomorrow. So just be cautious.
Hey, Jen, can I mention something also?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, this is Joe. Also, I know myself, I'm going to sim as of this week for the rest of the year. So I'm done for the year.
Sure.
I think that's probably something that's going to be, prevalent for the rest of the year. You're going to have people that are not trading, or they're sim trading, or they're just not there at all. So
Could be.
watch out. Volume is going to go to nothing.
Could be. Yeah, and that happens, but even still, there's been some wonderful trades in Christmas and New Year's. But yeah, I mean, not necessarily for newer traders and people that haven't been through it. And we're in such an odd place right now, I feel, in the market. Even though it keeps going up, it seems edgy to me.
Well, it's just when we look at FedEx, you think about, well, can it take out the initial low? That's $30-$40, and I'm just wondering if you'll get $30 or $40 over the next 2 vacation weeks.
Yeah, no, and sorry, I'm looking at this more as a longer term. I mean, clearly
Yeah,
FedEx's range is only 3-4 points. So I'm looking at this as more of a potential longer term swing to the downside.
Cool.
That's it. The day trades that I'm interested are D-Dog, the inside days, D-Dog, Lulu. Did we look at Roku? We went through Roku, right? Okay. Yeah, Roku, things like that have a higher likelihood. And we'll run through this stuff in the morning tomorrow too. Questions? Anyone? Ray, can you see if anyone has questions since my Zoom's all jacked up?
Doesn't look like it. No.
All right. Well, cool. If nobody has questions, then that's
I mean, one thing to keep in mind in terms of volume over the Christmas season, volume is going to drop down, but there's always Christmas traders. People are home for the holidays. Yeah. I mean, maybe this year it's a little bit different because a lot of people have been home all year long. But movement can be a little different than the regular time of year. It could be a little bit more choppy just with a bunch of Christmas traders coming into the pot. So, I mean, that just goes to add to your point about volume, over the Christmas holidays. Like, it is something to probably just keep in the back of your mind. Might be a little wonky for sure.
And just remember, when you go into trades tomorrow, the market doesn't care what you think. So go in with what your plan is. Yeah, go in with what your plan is, but let the market tell you what it's going to do, because I used to always, and sometimes still do, go in with an idea in my head, and I'd be so stubborn that it had to do that, while the whole time it was telling me that ain't going to be what I'm going to do here. So Key
I'm guilty of
is
that too.
watch price action. Price action will tell you what it's going to do. Price action is king. Strat is king in this whole thing. Anyone else questions? And you can ask questions on anything at this point. It doesn't just have to be a setup.
Somebody has asked, do you use volume profile intraday?
I do if I'm trading. So let me just switch this back here. I do. Let me just get it back on my chart. Back up there. So I like it, especially at the open. See if this has a decent one to look at. And obviously this chart is long past the open. So, but what you'll tend to notice and what helps give me an edge out of the gate is that, let's say the Roku chart, and actually let me see if I can find an example. That'd be easier than just pretending. Well, kind of like this. So I'm gonna make this bigger. All right, so let's just assume, even though this is really the end of day volume profile, in other words, as you go throughout the day, the volume profile is going to change, right? Because you're buying and selling, it's an auction market. We don't know how many buyers and sellers are going to be at each price point. That's what the volume profile is telling us. But you will find that if you start the day pre-market and you've got a stock way up in the top of that range, and you've got some volume up there, and what I call it the P shape, where you've got kind of a big letter P here and a big void in volume down below. And then you have these little dots are developing point of control. So this reflects what's going on as price is moving. This line right here, the official point of control, is where the most business was transacted over the course of the day. Either way, when you see something like this and you see it break below point of control, here it's below developing point of control and point of control, and we're up at the top of the range near the open. I mean, 9 times out of 10, we're going to zip down to the bottom of the range until we see no more volume on that volume profile. And how do you know there's no more volume? Well, you look at the bottom here. See that little itty bitty square? That means there's no volume. It just died. That's often a good place for a reversal. So I do use it throughout the day, but it's especially helpful at the open, because at the open, especially if I don't trade right out of the gate, obviously I give it some time to set up and I start watching what it's doing, unless there's just something amazing about the chart that, you know, there's a set up on a higher time frame that I can take with confidence at the open, because I know it's going the right direction here too. But you'll notice throughout the day that that volume profile can be really helpful, because the market doesn't like gaps. And so when you get, like, here's another one, a situation like this where there's just this big empty hole, no volume at all, there's just nothing to stop price from coming down. And then you see, once again, when volume starts dropping way off, that's when the price reverses. So volume profile is nothing more than really how many buyers and sellers are there for each candle. And to me, I can read that a lot better, and it's a lot more useful than the little volume bars at the bottom of the chart. Those were always very unreliable to me. Other questions? Anyone?
Yeah, Jen, on that price volume, is that including pre-market and after hours, or is that just through the trading day?
So I start out with pre-market on, and I leave it on because the more heavily traded stocks will have their volume profiles up in the morning. You will see, and what happens is oftentimes price will move from one side of the range to the other. So the critical point, if you're trading in or around the open, is where is price on the volume profile at the open. So let's just pretend this is exactly the way that Roku's volume profile looked at the open. And you see how there's really very little volume right here. And price had come up and tried to go higher and kind of bonked his head. Now it's down at the bottom of the range again. That's a decent long out of the gate because you're at the bottom of the range. You've got a big C-cup void right here. You've also got a 3-2 reversal pre-market. So that's that kind of trade you can take. Where I won't want to take a trade is, let me see if I can, that's also a beautiful void in the volume profile, and you see price just fell right through. But I'm not a huge fan of, let's just pretend that, ignore this upper part where it fell into the void, just pretend that we were right here. If we have a volume profile that opens kind of like V-shaped like that, right out of the middle, to me that indicates consolidation and that stock's not really going to do much that day, so I'm probably going to stay away from it. And you'll be surprised with pre-market how often even the little bit of pre-market volume profile you have tells you about what price is going to do. So it can give me a real edge out of the gate. And then I turn pre-market off and just let it form on the chart. The other reason I like pre-market on, I mean, to me, that's way too much. Way too much chaos going on. Can you mute, please? Please mute. Mute. Makes sense?
I think that makes perfect sense. I'm happy to hear that I've not used that indicator before, but it does make a lot of sense. So I'm going to keep an eye on it.
It's really the only one that, I mean, I've got like a 9 and a 20 and a VF on there. I don't use them to trade off of it, but I know other traders are looking at it. So most traders are taught to trade off of the moving averages. That's why I sometimes have them on my chart, sometimes I don't. But especially on, you know, the higher time frames, traders will take, ignore those long wicks. They're just the point of controls. You know, sometimes traders will take a long when it hits the 9 moving average. So I just have them there really more as a reference as to what other traders are looking at. I don't necessarily use them to take the trade. What I'm looking to enter the trade is the strat signal first and always. Then I'm looking to see what the volume profile is doing and where the point of control is. The trade can become even stronger if you've got something like a daily close below. So like here's a decent example on Roku. This was the daily close, I guess, the day before. So you see how price, the volume's fairly low here. It starts increasing, so price just kind of floats up, bumps its head, retraces, and then comes back and dies off again. So if you've got, if you're using volume profile, I like it at extremes, meaning I typically am not going to get involved with anything in the middle. I want either a big P at the top with price right at the top, or I guess it would be like an L at the bottom, price at the bottom. And point of control below, obviously, if you're looking to go long, point of control above, if you're looking to go short. And your strat signal, you know, and whether you take your strat signal right off the 5-minute or it's the daily.
Okay. Jen?
Yeah.
Did you say that if the candle buyer is above the POC, take it long, or because if that's the case, if you see that I don't see the time that the highest one, the two red bars or anything, yeah, wherever your cursor is. Little bit,
So
yeah.
here, so this is, let me turn pre-market back on. It's not gonna give you the right picture. I'd have to go on like instant replay because pre-market is gonna be different than where it closes. But you can see with pre-market here, this little line is developing point of control. So once again, at the open, I will use, if it's above developing point of control or control, I'm comfortable taking it either way. And especially on something like this, because when you see developing point of control, these black dots stepping up as price moves, that means that there's more and more volume coming in as price is going up. If POC wasn't, the developing POC wasn't moving up with price, I would be kind of suspicious. And remember, this final POC is from the entire day, so it's not going to be reflective of where it opened. My guess is it was probably down here. So you would have been above both.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Because
it would-
Thinkorswim doesn't have the developing point of control, so that's why I get confused.
Oh, gotcha.
Got it.
Yep. Yeah, this was a beautiful, beautiful setup. And I had mentioned it in the pre-market recommendations. I think Roku and JKS were the two that I said had the strongest likelihood. And you can see here that you also had the previous close. And granted, I mean, that has nothing to do with the strat per se, but there are other traders that are looking at that level, and that's why it's powerful. I usually will have these moving averages turned off during the day. It's too much stuff going on my chart. I'm not really even sure why I have them on right now. But,
Jen, can you hear me?
yeah.
Hi. So I have a question for you. So the PLC kind of, can it indicate when there's kind of like some pump and dump? Can you read it before it happens?
Well, you can read it as it's happening, basically. So like right here, if you were in, let's say that you didn't get in the trade that morning, but you got in off this nice,
Right.
212 reversal,
Mm-hmm.
and you're riding it long. Well, how do you know when price is reversing? Well, look at that. I mean, volume just crapped out on you. There is nothing.
Yeah.
That's how you know there's this. I mean, look at this last little guy up here. All the buyers were exhausted at that point. There's nobody left. And that's when it just starts failing. And it's interesting to know where it sells off to. They call these extensions nodes. And so price fell back to this node. It kind of filled in this C-curved area right here, and then it did not want to go lower.
Got it. Extension nodes.
Alrighty. Finally I can see my chat box too. So if anyone has other questions, we got about 10 minutes left. Go ahead and type them in because I can finally see them. Don't be shy.
I was saying in the chat, like if you want to double click on the price axis.
Is that
yeah, you can
make it clearer?
It's just gonna make it bigger. You won't have to go back and forth trying to
gotcha.
and just make your life easier.
Okay, that's always good, right?
Yeah.
Questions, anyone? Going once? Going twice?
Did you
Three
come?
times?
I was a little late getting in, Jen.
Yeah.
Did you guys come up with a handful of stocks to watch? Is that what
We
these
did,
are?
yeah. I'll be posting this to YouTube in about an hour.
Okay.
So it'll all be on there. Yeah, for anyone that missed the beginning, I'm gonna post it on YouTube in about an hour, so you can just watch it there. All right, cool. Save your questions up for next week. Have a great trading day tomorrow, guys.
Thanks,
For
Jen.
those- For
Do you
those
do
of
the
you
morning? Do you do
Yeah,
morning?
on Discord, yeah, for those of you that are
Okay.
joining me in the morning, I'll be live about 7:45-ish, depending on my children and how cooperative they are in getting off to
7:45
school. Yep.
Eastern time or Pacific time? Sorry.
I'm sorry, it's Central, thank you. It's 8:45
Central.
Eastern, yes, I should be talking in Eastern and I always forget.
I'm in Pacific, so that's what I was like. Thank you, Jen.
All righty,
Thanks so much, Jen. Really appreciate it. Thank
no
you.
problem. I'll upload it to YouTube here in a bit. Bye now.